Okay, welcome to common typography mistakes. One of the first mistakes a lot of designers do when they're young designers is they work entirely with center alignment. This is placing every element on the center axis of the page. While this is a more organized and symmetrical look than placing text haphazardly, it tends to be a pretty weak choice. When your entire page is symmetrical, it often ends up looking boring with no visual interest. Center alignment works best when dealing with just a couple of short lines of text. You should never use it for full paragraphs because it makes them more difficult to read. The audience has no straight line margin, so their eyes must move to a new position every time they start a new line. So this on the left is so much easier to read because your eye always knows exactly where to start. When it's center aligned and there's a lot of it, your eye is like jump, 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 jump. Especially this last thing is terrible. Okay, just in action, you can see the left versus center line text is just easier to read. It looks better. Center line text is best used for headlines and short lines of text. Users can read them with ease because the lines are short, scannable, and don't need repeated eye movements. They can also give your layout a balanced look with its symmetrical format. One other mistake you should never make is to combine center text with left-aligned text. For example, a center-aligned headline should not go with a left-aligned paragraph, and this is because the unsymmetrical line lengths of the paragraph can give the headline the appearance that it's slightly off-center. You also lose the symmetrical appearance of your paragraph. A centered headline should go with center text, left-aligned headline should go with left-aligned text, and avoid mixing the two together so your text doesn't look unbalanced. Right alignment. Flush right alignment is much less common than other types, so it's often used to give elements a unique or offbeat look or feel. With this orientation, text is aligned against a hard right-hand margin, with the left side being the rag. Like with center alignment, you should avoid using flush right on large paragraphs since the ragged left edge will make them difficult to read. With shorter lines of text, it can help give your words extra weight and importance since it requires more effort to read. It's more interesting than centering everything, but overusing it might frustrate your reader. Justified text. With justified alignment, both the left and right sides of the text are effectively flush against hard, straight margins. This is achieved by individually adjusting the spacing of each line of text, so a line with fewer characters will be more broadly spaced, while a line with more characters will have less space between them. Justified text comes with one major complication. If individual words are too long or the columns are too narrow, it can sometimes create these weird, unsightly gaps of blank space. So you're having these types of issues with justification, try using a longer line length or a smaller font or shorter words, or just go ahead and align left. What you'd never want to see in your type is stuff like this hole, these gaps. They result in this. My gosh, that's terrible. You never want to see that. Okay, soft rags. When setting a block of text unjustified with a left or right alignment, be sure to keep the rag, which is the uneven side over here, balanced without any sudden holes or awkward shapes. A bad rag can be unsettling to the eye and distract the reader, and a good rag has a soft unevenness without any lines that are too long or too short. There's no way to control this, so to achieve a good rag, you must make a manual adjustment to the block of text. And so I just want to point out what makes a good rag. A good rag, your mouse can just sort of like tiny waves, like a gentle beach, right? But here it's like zip, zap, zoop, zoop, zoop. You know, you're jumping all over. It's hard on the eyes. It's hard on the brain. Don't do that. So to soften the rag in your text blocks, it'll take a little practice. There's a few ways you can do it. You can use a soft return by holding down the shift key as you press return in the space where it makes sense for the copy to fold over. It doesn't give you a new paragraph in case your paragraph is formatted in paragraph, so it won't give you that extra space if you've included that, but instead it keeps the text with its block of text. You could also adjust the tracking of the offending line of type. Usually you can adjust between negative or +5 without the eye noticing. Beyond that, the eye might have a harder time reading depending how close you track it. All right, widows and orphans. A widow is a lone word or short group of words that appears at the bottom of a paragraph, column, or page. It tends to make long sections of text look unbalanced and messy, as well as leaving too much excess white space at the end of a page. It can also be a paragraph-ending line that falls at the beginning of the following page or column and separated from the rest of the text. An orphan is usually one or two words left alone at the bottom of a paragraph. Sometimes they appear on the next page when creating a longer document. Orphans really belong on the previous page, as to not only do they look untidy on the page they appear, but they also break the flow of reading across 2 pages, and they're kind of weird. So how do you fix widows or orphans? Okay, there's 3 easy options. The first is to slightly extend the edge of your text frame. So just pull that off to the right a little bit, and maybe that'll adjust things, so it'll help. Solution 2, apply an optical margin alignment to your text. It's a method of shifting small text elements like commas, apostrophes, and serifs to sit outside of the text frame. That will help tremendously. And option 3 is apply tracking or kerning to the text. So you can, like I said, pull it in, -5 or +5 to make that adjustment, and maybe you'll be able to get those words in. All right, small caps. Small caps are short capital letters designed to blend in with lowercase text. They're usually taller than the lowercase letters, and they can look great, and they're very useful as an alternative to bold or italic or even all caps. However, there's 2 rules for small caps. Do not click on the small cap formatting box in your word processor, ever. This option does not produce small caps. It produces inferior counterfeits. And even when you're using a typeface that has small caps. So when you want to use small caps, if you pull down that option menu where it says regular, bold, italics, if small caps isn't one of the options, don't use fake small caps. They just don't look right. With small caps, use them sparingly, add letter spacing, and turn on your kerning. It's up to you whether to use them capitalized or not, like they have here. They've used capitalization. I don't like it. I like it all lowercase, but that's a personal preference.